wanted to kind of throw a topic out there that we've been discussing a lot. Maybe you guys have some ideas that you can comment with. So we're talking a lot about monetization. That's obviously something that you, as a team building anything, you need to figure out how we're gonna make money off of it. Unfortunately, but things cost money. Time costs money. There's salaries to be paid, rents to be paid. So it is a question that's on top of mind when you're a small team and you're building stuff. And there's so many ways that you can monetize a game, but what is the right way, and how do you guys feel about it? Like, we're talking about a couple of different options here. One option could be charging up front, having like a premium. It's a premium game. You pay a couple of bucks, and you can play the whole game, and that's it. Or you could do something else.
The option of having ads in the game, like you lose, it shows a full screen ads, and like you can pay to remove the ads if you want, or you can just like tolerate the ads and play the whole game without ever paying anything, but like paying indirectly through that.
Yeah, and we thought about the freemium model as well, where it's free at the beginning, but then to unlock the later levels, perhaps you pay a small fee.
So those are really the three ideas, like paid up front, ads, and pay to get more levels.
Yeah, I mean, there's some variations on those too. Like we've talked about a soft economy where you maybe earn some sort of coins or something.
Your progression in the game can actually unlock later levels, or if you're not that good at it, then you can pay to do that as well.
Yeah, and there's pros and cons to most of these things, right? And we can just kind of quickly run over them, and maybe you guys have some ideas as well. So the pros and cons for the premium, the paying for the game costs money. The pro is that it's technically very easy to implement. It doesn't require us to rethink the game in any way. In fact, you can actually get to make the game the way you want. You can finish the game. There's a wholesome, child-friendly, the way that we grew up thing about that, right? Where you pay
my money, I've bought the game, now it's mine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the game developers doesn't actually have to come up with any other ways of making money because, you bought that experience. And there's something really nice about that. The problem about that, the con about that, is that it will severely limit your player base. There's just a lot of people that don't want to pay to play.
Sure.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who don't want to pay for a game they haven't tried yet.
True. So right now we're not super keen on the premium thing. I know that a lot of people who might be watching this who could be potential fans of this game or other games of this type would be like, sure, you'll fork over $5 and you'll play the game and have fun with it. And that's cool, but you really need to consider it from our standpoint. Like, you could have maybe 100 people doing that, or you could maybe have 10,000 people trying out your game who weren't willing to pay up front, but there might be other ways in which you could get some return on that.
And this is just such an ultra competitive market. Like, there's so many free games to choose from on the App Store.
Yeah, why would you pay?
When people are browsing games, I don't think they're even often browsing the paid games. It's just like, what free game can I download right now?
Yeah. So it quickly becomes a question of, do you want to reach a lot of people? Do you want a lot of people to play your game? Or do you want to, is it a type of game where you cater to a small segment of people who would gladly pay that amount?
I remember what got me into Angry Birds. I mean, they have the dual installation model. There's a demo which is completely free, and then there's an entirely standalone paid version. And that worked for me, so perhaps that's something we could think about.
Yeah, that's how it used to work before in-app purchase. But now people are really implementing that with in-app purchase. So just like download one game and then unlock the rest.
There's really, I can't think of any real good argument to go that route today, because having one binary, having one game that you support and you upload and you rank and you market is so much better in many respects than having multiple games that you need to keep updated and you need to push on.
This shows you how often I buy stuff in games.
So
I remember I bought a game.
I bought a game once. Yeah.
Okay, but let's talk about the pros and cons for some of the other things.
So ads.
Let's talk about ads. Ads in games.
Yeah, a lot of people don't feel like, especially people who really are into the game and are into the development, don't really like ads. It's like, it's a bad word, like, oh, you don't want ads in your game.
Yeah.
But it is actually a viable way of making money for a game, and a lot of games uses that, like
Flappy Bird,
Crossy Road, like a lot of games use that. Like pausing the game to show an ad, and if you don't like the ads, then you can pay to remove them, and like you paid your duty, like now you can play the game. But there's people who never want to pay for the game, and they just want to play, and they don't mind the ads. So maybe it's a good compromise.
Maybe. I mean, certainly where the industry is heading in many ways. A lot of studies kind of show that that's the preferred way of doing it for a lot of players. So if you want to grow a big player base, you don't want to put up a paywall, you kind of figure out a way in which ads mesh into the gameplay in a non-intrusive way. You can even flip it on its head, which I think is what made one of the things that made Crossy Road really popular, is that you're kind of hooking it into a reward system where if you watch an ad, you actually get something in the game, you get some coins, and people, I mean, in Crossy Roads, it's like you can't watch an ad all the time. People are waiting for the opportunity to watch an ad so that they can get those coins. That's brilliant. I mean, that is brilliant, right? So, I mean, where do you put it? Where do you put the ad? The ad is the obnoxious thing, and then by ad, usually what people talk about is a 30-second video for another game, right? That's usually what it is. So where do you put it? We're discussing putting it maybe when you die, like when you crash your trains. Is that where you want to watch an ad? Like to continue?
That's like extra punishment.
Yeah. Is it before you enter a level? Is it? Yeah. I mean, and that's you guys chip in. Like if you have some ideas, and don't say make it completely free or just kind of charge $100 or something up front. Like that might solve the problem for you, but it probably doesn't solve the problem for most people. So yeah, I hope that people can relate to this talk somehow, because it's a side of the table that a lot of non-developers rarely think about. They just want the game for free, and they kind of live with the ads. They know that they have to make some money, but yeah, here it is. Here's the ugly discussion.
And we don't have an answer for this yet.
No.
This is an ongoing discussion.
This is something we need to solve quite quickly, because the third option of doing something with in-app purchases or some sort of freemium model, that needs to tie into the game design. Like you need to build your game around that, and what you'll see is if you take a good hard look at some of the games on your phone, is that a lot of the ways in which developers deploy this is that they have like these little reward mechanisms or game loops or ways in which they make you pay either by attention or via money for something, and that's a huge part of the game design. Like you don't, that's not something you add in afterwards. Like good monetization is usually part of the core development of a mobile game.
I think the volume of game that you need to develop in terms of levels is so much higher then, because you need enough for free to get people to want to play the game, but then also sufficiently more after the paywall or the purchase to reward, to give you the value for money.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in a way you have to make much more game.
Yeah.
Because you give away a portion for free.
Yeah.
To begin with.
That's true. Yeah, and also some of these things. I mean, quickly when we have this discussion, some of the proposals that we come up with actually involves making a lot more, like putting a lot more development time into things. So one thing that we discussed was, okay, so maybe there needs to be a soft economy. Maybe you need to earn something during the levels, right? That you can then spend in a store. Either that might be cosmetic or it might affect the gameplay. In any case, if you want a system like that, that's actually quite a lot of development time that you're not putting towards making a better game. Or it can make the game better, but I mean, it kind of removes focus a little bit from what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. And that's what's so compelling about the just premium game, because that's zero development time. You just select from the list how much do you want this game to cost.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, it's building a store and economy, and you can place things so. And we need to find some solution that doesn't take too long to actually implement.
Yeah, we don't want to spend a month now building a store or in-app purchases or creating some sort of reward mechanism around something that doesn't have to do with trains and doesn't have to do with the puzzles that we're building. I mean, it is I feel like we're in a very honest place right now where we want to build these little worlds where we have this little puzzle where trains are roaming around and you crash them and then you lose, and maybe you'll solve them and then you progress to the next level, and that's awesome. That's cool. I don't want anything really to tamper with that experience.
Agreed.
So that's why I'm not decided on this, but I am not particularly fond of the in-app purchase thing.
No. I think I lean towards the adverts. It's the least effort, and it's probably the best reward.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's the highest exposure. I mean, the user base can be.
Yeah. Because the least technical thing would be to just charge a premium for the game.
And then people can actually decide, like, do they want the free-to-play game or do they want the premium game?
But I mean, that's cool. We can try to reach a decision. We can hear your comments, hopefully, like premium game, ads in the game, or some sort of in-app purchase mechanism, store, and really think hard about the pros and cons about those three things. What do you guys think? What should we do? What's the best way of rolling this? Yeah.